Coming up on Network Africa. Several trucks set ablaze as militants block a key Senegal-Mali trade route. Malawi's Electoral Commission says Tuesday's election is too close to call as Malawians await results of the tightly contested elections. Plus, activists in Johannesburg, South Africa call for sanctions and divestment after a UN inquiry accuses Israel of genocide in Gaza. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Layo Olarinde. We begin with security in the Sahel region. There are reports of a blockade on the major Senegal-Mali trade route. Mali's military government seeks to calm anger over the blockade by Islamist militants on the major highway where lorry drivers have been facing ambushes and arson attacks. Speaking of the seriousness of the situation affecting the landlocked country, Prime Minister Abdoulaye Maiga said the authorities are trying to improve security on the roads. The blockade, a potentially serious escalation of Mali's long-running jihadist insurgency, is particularly affecting the supply of fuel, which could cripple the country. The Sahel region of West Africa is known as the epicenter of global terrorism, accounting for more than 50% of all terrorism-related deaths. Well, several analysts say the aim of the Al-Qaeda-linked militants is to impose a blockade of the capital, Bamako. In Togo, a former defense minister and vocal critic of the government, Marguerite Gnade, has been arrested. According to security sources, she was arrested for serious acts, including her recent public appearance inciting the military to rebellion. Or local media reports she was arrested by security forces at her home in the capital, Leone, on Wednesday. Ms. Gnakade is the sister-in-law of long-serving leader Foye Singbe, and she recently called for his resignation and urged the military to stand with the people in ending decades of dynastic rule. Togo has recently been gripped by deadly protests calling for President Singbe to resign and the release of political prisoners. Well, the waiting game is on in Malawi as citizens await results of Tuesday's tightly contested elections. The country's Electoral Commission says the polls are too close to call. However, the electoral body is expected to announce presidential results within 8 days, parliamentary results within 14 days, and local government results within 21 days after the closure of polling. Election officials, soldiers and journalists remain at the National Tally Center in Lilongwe, closely monitoring the release of preliminary figures. Some political analysts say a rerun election is possible, while locals have expressed confidence in what they say in the process, which they say has been handled very well. Incumbent President Lazarus Chakwera is facing strong competition from several candidates. However, the main contest is widely seen as a rematch between President Chakwera and his predecessor, former President Peter Mutharika.
In terms of the period for declaration of winners, in accordance with Section 99 of the Presidential, Parliamentary and Local Government Elections Act, the Commission shall announce the results of the presidential election within 8 days, for the parliamentary election within 14 days, and for the local government election within 21 days from the closure of polling.
The results are still coming in. It might be premature to predict, but let's wait and see until we get all the results from different polling centers to the main tally center. But looking at the numbers that are streaming now, it could be possible that we may have a rerun.
They are waiting for official results, but on the ground, actually, the results are fair, and the election was fair. And what I can say is, whosoever win will accept it.
It's been a year since South Africa took Israel to the International Court of Justice over its military operations in Gaza. Now, a United Nations Commission of Inquiry has concluded that Israel committed genocide in Gaza, accusing top officials, including Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, of complicity. At the third annual activist symposium in Johannesburg, delegates suggest trade restrictions, sanctions, and divestment campaigns remain powerful tools to hold governments accused of atrocity crimes accountable.
We're from South Africa, and we know what sanctions did to us. There were massive global boycotts, and we've got a global boycott, divestment, and sanction campaign. And I'd encourage people to go to the BDS website. There's a targeted campaign that is being run. Products like Coca-Cola, we need to be boycotting. We need to be boycotting Pepsi, McDonald's, Starbucks. But at a trade level, there is this complicity that we as South Africans continue to have, which is where we are sending coal to Israel. Additionally, we still haven't closed the embassy, and we know that Parliament has voted to close the embassy, and that is absolutely insane. So when you go to the Israeli embassy, there's still the flags flying. Of course, the ambassador is no longer here, but the embassy is still open, which is problematic, and that needs to shut. We need to say to Israel, we have no normal relationships with you while genocide is still being committed.
Well, joining us now is our South Africa correspondent, Innocent Samosa, for more on this. Hello, Innocent.
Hello, colleague. A very good afternoon to you and our viewers around the world. It's good to be with you.
Good, glad to have you. Well, this week we saw a United Nations inquiry accusing Israel of genocidal acts in Gaza. How is this finding being received, by the South African public and also political leaders?
Indeed, colleague, many South Africans feel that this is something that has been going on for quite some time, and they feel that, at least, in fact, the leaders here, they feel that the efforts that were taken to take Israel to the ICJ are now paying off, given the fact that it's been a year off since South Africa took Israel to the ICJ, and they're of a view that this is a step in the right direction in making sure that anyone who any powerful nation cannot go without being punished when they're doing atrocity. But I can tell you now that it was received in a very, very, very jubilant manner, I must say, because there's been a lot of clips of politicians on social media where they've been saying that this is a step in the right direction. South Africa has done well in taking the Israel to the Constitutional Court of Justice, but also they're saying that this is good because the ICJ is a statutory to the United Nations. So it does seem as though it's rubber stamping the fact that South Africa was not dreaming when they say that indeed there's genocide in Gaza. But again, the challenge here is that, colleague, it's also difficult. The Minister of International Relations, Ronald Lamola, mentioned that it's difficult to really define atrocity and genocide in a particular country simply because you have to get proof. And getting the proof, of course, is from the media, but at times, the Israeli leadership has said that they've rubbished many of those videos that come out of of Gaza. But I can tell you now that this report, this ruling, was received with open arms from South African public, colleague.
Yeah, like we've mentioned, it's been a year since South Africa took Israel to the ICJ. But in light of this, report and findings from the UN, has the South African government perhaps indicated whether it will step up its own legal or diplomatic efforts following this report?
Yeah, indeed. The South African Department of International Relations, in fact, briefed the media in Cape Town, where they were just outlining where the case is at this point in time. We do know that what they were outlining there, colleague, it's essentially what they were able to find on the ground from, activists, from journalists, and also from, people who are ordinary people who are really looking for assistance assistance in Gaza. They're saying that the number of the people that are dying on the ground is could be escalated, is not the actual number, because they're saying that
we seem to have lost the connection with Innocent. We'll try to reconnect and wrap up that conversation. In the meantime, Somalia has launched a national plan to counter the threat posed by improvised explosive devices, IEDs, across the country. And the United Nations is commending authorities on the move, calling it an important step forward. According to the UN Secretary-General's Special Representative for Somalia, James Swan, the national counter-IED strategy builds on the baseline assessment that was launched in February 2023, which provides the foundation for the national framework to address one of the most persistent threats to Somalia's security and stability. Mr. Swan was addressing the launch of the National Counter-IED Strategy in the capital, Mogadishu. The event was organized by the Central Monitoring Department and attended by a wide range of senior officials from the federal government of Somalia and the international community.
The challenge now lies in sustained implementation. But we're confident that with continued national resolve and with coordinated and focused support from international partners, this strategy can strengthen Somalia's capacity to mitigate the threat of IEDs, protect the Somali people, and reinforce peace and security.
This is a historical milestone for our country. Never before have we had a unified, nationally owned framework to address the IED threats. This strategy represents a decisive shift from reactive measures to proactive measures. To proactive measures, intelligence-led approaches also, anchored with national ownership. It integrated intelligence-led operations, precursors control, capacity building, legal reform, and civil engagement into one coherent framework. It's also embedded continuous technological and tactical reassessment, establishment of a national electronic tracking system for the precursors material, and creates a fast-track mechanism to update laws and threat that evolves.
Well, I understand our correspondent, Innocent Samosa, in South Africa is back with us. Hello, Innocent. You were trying to, finish up your comments on whether South Africa will be stepping up its legal or diplomatic efforts, following the UN inquiry that accusing Israel of genocide in Gaza. But I want to ask you, what reactions, if any, have you seen, from Israeli representatives in South Africa in light of this latest development?
Indeed, colleague. I would like to apologize to our viewers for that glitch. But of course, from the Israeli side, in fact, there was a marathon that took place over the weekend, and we are hearing reports that the members of Israeli community were participating in that marathon, and many people in South Africa were quite not happy with that. They're saying that they're not supposed to participate. In fact, I'm coming to you from the car because we're from an activist symposium that is currently taking place here in Johannesburg. And what they're saying, Layo, is that they want South Africa to cut ties, economic ties with Israel. For an example, the issues around coal. We know that majority, tons and tons of coal, South Africa still trade coal with Israel. So in other words, they feel that South Africa is fueling this genocide because they are still trading with Israel. So they feel that there are other companies, of course, I can't mention them here on this platform, but there are other companies, of course, that they are mentioning that they should be scrapped, they should be boycotted because they're supporting the genocide that is currently happening in Gaza and in Israel. So that is where they're standing right now. Well, it is a step in the right direction, this UN report, but they feel that South African government also needs to position itself better in dealing with the issues in cutting trade with Israel to make sure that they stop this war. Until the ceasefire, they say that we cannot trade with, they cannot trade with the Israel government.
All right, and thank you so much, Innocent Samos, Channels TV's correspondent in South Africa.
Thank you so much, colleague.
Let's take a break now on the program. Still to come. The United Nations calls out South Sudan's government for what it calls the reckless charges against Vice President Riek Machar. Please join us again. Welcome back to the program. The United Nations Human Rights Commission in South Sudan is criticizing the government's decision to charge opposition leader and the first Vice President Riek Machar with treason, calling the move reckless. Mr. Machar, who has been under house arrest since March, faces charges of treason, murder, terrorism, and crimes against humanity. Authorities say he helped coordinate an attack in Upper Nile State that left several soldiers dead. The government has also suspended Mr. Machar from his role as first vice president, a position he held under the fragile 2018 peace deal. The UN warns that bringing criminal charges against him risks destabilizing the country, which is already grappling with armed clashes between pro-government forces and militia loyal to Mr. Machar. In the meantime, the United Nations mission in South Sudan, UNMISS, has facilitated the transportation of county commissioners from across the region to Malakal for a high-level forum focused on conflict resolution and enhanced inter-county cooperation. The initiative is aimed at supporting local authorities who play a crucial role in restoring security, reconciling divided communities, and promoting lasting peace in a region grappling with severe political instability and security challenges. As violence, economic hardship, and climate shocks, particularly extreme flooding, continue to devastate communities across the country, the forum also addressed ways to revive local economies and support displaced and vulnerable populations. Local leaders are also calling for stronger support from both the national government and the international community to help the region recover and build a more stable future.
In fact, the situation in Nasser, there is so many people which have been run away from the conflict which happened in Nasser. Now they come back. So they face so many difficulties. There is no shelter, and there is no any other means like non-food items, food items. They are not already there inside the Nasser town. But about the area, like some payams have been robbed of food for them, but they don't have a non-food item. Many people, their tukul have been burned. There is no shelter, and there is no cooking material, and plastic sheet, you may bring water for it. All these things are not available.
Conflicts are there, misunderstandings are there, differences are there, but there's only one way: having dialogue, to sit down and identify those issues that we are facing as communities, come up with a solution over it, and strive for a better South Sudan and strive for peace.
Here in Nigeria, the Lagos state government has warned residents and technicians against using ozone-depleting gases in refrigerators and other cooling equipment. The general manager of the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency, Dr. Babatunde Ajayi, made this known during a program to mark this year's World Ozone Day. He urged certified technicians to make use of correct and non-depleting gases to prevent further depletion of the ozone layer.
Officials of the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency set out to create awareness on World Ozone Day and steps that must be taken to protect the environment. They move around the seat of power, Lausa Ikeja, with different descriptions on their placards, and then converge on Adeyemi Bero Auditorium for the 2025 World Ozone Day to deliberate on this year's theme, From Science to Global Action.
The fact that we have a room filled with NARA professionals is a testament to our drive to move from science to global action. Speaking science, talking about climate change and environmental protection and sustainability, ozone layer protection, is our work. The action really is going to be carried out by the NARA professionals here in the room.
Nigerian Association of Refrigeration and Air Conditioning Practitioners and other key stakeholders highlight the importance of sustainable practices to drive environmental solutions.
Moving from scientific discovery to global action serves as a powerful reminder of what we can achieve when we work together. It shows that our collective efforts, driven by scientific understanding and public awareness, can create profound positive change for our environment.
NESRIA remains committed to working closely with Lagos State and other key stakeholders in ensuring that the Nigerian environment not only sustains but also strengthens its contribution to the global agenda of protecting the ozone layer and building resilience against climate change.
The Lagos State government, as well as the Federal Controller of the Environment and Southwest Director, stated that ozone layer depletion is a global environmental problem and requires a global responsibility to fix it.
The journey from science to global action is a continuous one. For us to achieve more, we need to sustain awareness among the public and the industrial stakeholders. We also need to strengthen enforcement of environmental regulation.
The target of the country is that we should recover the ozone layer back to what it was in 1980. So to do that, there is still need for the academics to do more research, encourage our students to focus on this human impactful area that becomes necessary.
Protecting the environment from ozone-depleting substances is a major task for everyone, and the World Ozone Day serves as a call to action for all stakeholders to protect the planet and support Lagos State government's efforts towards achieving a greener and healthier future.
A 3,000-year-old bracelet has been reported missing from a leading museum in Cairo as authorities across Egypt search for the artifact. The rare gold band, adorned with spherical lapis lazuli beads, dates back to the reign of King Amenhotep, a pharaoh of ancient Egypt's 21st dynasty who ruled from 993 to 984 BC. The Antiquities Ministry said it had taken immediate measures after the bracelet disappeared from the Egyptian Museum's Restoration Laboratory and that the case had been referred to the police. An image of the bracelet has been circulated to all Egyptian airports, seaports and land border crossings as a precautionary step to prevent smuggling attempts. A specialist committee has also been informed to carry out an inventory and review all artifacts being kept at the laboratory. The bracelet's disappearance comes 6 weeks before the opening of the Grand Egyptian Museum in nearby Giza, where the world-renowned treasures of King Tutankhamun's tomb has been transferred and is expected to go on display. And as we end the program today, here's our fun fact about the continent. Did you know that Sierra Leone is famously known for its diamonds, often called blood diamonds, due to the conflicts fueled by their trade? These blood diamonds are rough stones mined in war zones and sold to finance insurgencies, terrorist groups or warlords. The country's land is rich not only with these diamonds but also in minerals and oil resources that hold the potential to greatly benefit the government and the people. And that's it on the program for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Layo Olarinde.